following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Look at that face, just look at it. Look at that fabulous face of yours. When you first looked, I took at it. This is a face that the world adores. Look at those eyes as cheery and bright as can be. Look at that nose, it glows for us all to see. As for your smile, it's lyrical, friendly, and warm as a Christmas day. Every girl, every boy sees the meaning of joy in that face.
Well, welcome to the midweek. This is going to be a special week, don't you say, Santa?
Don't call me Santa. Can I take this beard off now?
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
No, you're right. It is going to be really special because this is our Advent Conspiracy Holiday Special.
That's right. Aside from the dandruff.
Yeah, or whatever this is, and it's going to be on me the rest of the evening, so that's fun. But we are really going to now consider how Advent Conspiracy is going to help us have a spiritually rich experience this season.
That's right. And that's all about worship and gratitude and thankfulness. And so Greg this week teed us up perfectly for that. Take a look.
Of what it means to give thanks. It's all over the scriptures. Let me just give you a few here from the Psalms. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever. Right back in Ephesians, giving thanks always and for everything to God the Father in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. From another letter of Paul's, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. Now that sounds like an awful lot, that last one. Give thanks in all circumstances. I mean, if we were to just kind of take a poll right now of where you are on the gratitude meter, some of us are really struggling right now of how can we be grateful. But it is Thanksgiving week, so you would expect us to just kind of give you a few things and maybe a few sayings, a few thoughts. So here's a thought for you that's going to be in the back of some of your minds. Here it is. It sounds something like this. Don't be a pig. That's not exactly what you were expecting me to say, is it? But it's like some of us are like, oh, it's Thanksgiving, I don't want to overindulge. Maybe you have someone in your life who lovingly says, honey, don't be a pig. Which, by the way, for the record, never works when they say that. But I understand where they're coming from. But how about this? How about a piglet? Like a little pig. In fact, that's what I want. I just want to go on record. Some of you take notes, some of you don't take notes. But I would say take out your phone, take whatever. This is one of the real assignments that you have this week. Be a piglet. Well, some of you are thinking, I don't even think that's very healthy for you to say that, Pastor. We should all be on the caveman diet. No, I'm going to be on the pilgrim diet this week. Be a piglet. And don't worry, I'm not even talking about food. I'm talking about one of Winnie the Pooh's friends. In fact, might be his best friend in the 100-Acre Wood, if you ever read that kid's classic. Piglet, little guy, sometimes overwhelmed, would usually find a way to muster up courage. Piglet. If you don't know Piglet, here's the one thing you need to remember about him. Piglet noticed that even though he had a very small heart, it could hold a rather large amount of gratitude. Come on. We need more piglets, like right now in this world.
It's so true, Angela. We need more people with gratitude in their hearts, and we need to think about gratitude as we head into this season in this world, don't we?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And don't be a pig.
Yeah.
The piglet thing.
Was that directed directly at me, or were you saying that generally to the people who are watching?
I mean, in general, I've seen you eat pizza.
You saw me put away some pizza earlier. It's true. It's true.
So don't be a pig. Don't be a pig. Yeah, it is all about gratitude. It really is. And maybe especially this year. I mean, because we're aware.
We've got to remind ourselves of the fact that God is up to something in our midst, and that there's a story here that is so connected to Christmas that is worth celebrating and giving thanks for, right?
That's right, yeah.
So that's what I love about Advent Conspiracy, and why we're going to spend some time talking about it this evening is because, Angela, for me and my family, it's changed the way we celebrate Christmas, and it totally connects us back to the story of Jesus and what he did when he came to live among us.
That's right,
you know?
yeah. And you were here from the beginning, so you know the story of how it started. By the time I got here 3.5 years ago, it was part of the DNA.
Right, that's
Yeah.
absolutely right. But then it's changed your Christmas as well. You were saying
It has.
you and Jim.
That's right. That's right. We've totally relooked at how we spend our time and our
Yep.
money, and it's been really fun to be creative.
Yeah, and so we're so excited to talk about this in greater detail. And this was a movement that started in 2006 with our lead pastor, Greg, and a couple of other pastors who had a vision for how Christmas could be different. And they were just kind of, I've heard this story, this lamenting of the fact that we were kind of missing the point collectively of
Yeah.
what Christmas was about. And so this was going to be a way for us to bring it back to the meaning of it and to be able to make it meaningful again for us. And so here we are. Our program this evening may go just a little bit long because we've got so many stories and so much we want to share with you all that we're excited to bring to you. But for starters, Angela, I think we ought to just kind of go through the 4 tenets of Advent Conspiracy
Right.
one more time so we can all get our heads around what this movement's really about.
And it starts with worshipfully,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it all flows from as an act of worship.
Yes. Yeah, it's
Right.
what we always say is that it begins and ends with Jesus.
Right.
That's what Christmas is about. That's what we're celebrating. And if we get away from starting with worship, then we miss the point.
That's right, yeah. And then kind of the obvious thing is spend less.
Right. That's what people think of a
That's
lot of
right.
times when they think of this movement, in part because we're saying cut back on your spending. We don't want to see people go into backbreaking debt during the Christmas season. We want people to spend money wisely. And then this, spend your money in ways where like your money counts
Yeah.
for something, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, that's exactly right. And be creative. I've seen people make things,
Which is
and
really
it's been really
cool.
fun.
And so we'll talk more about what that can look like here in a few minutes, but then that gets us to give more, give more relationally, give more of your time.
More intentionally,
Yeah.
to be more intentional about giving of yourself and your time.
Yep, and this is where a lot of times this is where people will point to say, this is what changed my Christmas.
Right.
For us,
Yeah.
our Christmas mornings are slower now because we're being more intentional with the way that we're giving gifts and the way that we're
That's right.
celebrating.
Even the holiday parties, do you find yourself doing less of those? I mean, even before COVID?
Yeah, saying
Where-
no to stuff.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we're gonna enjoy the season and take it
Just
slow.
really slowing down.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Go
then
ahead.
love all.
Love all. Yep.
Yeah. And that can get really, Christmas can get really focused on family, which it is a family time.
Yep.
But to remember that we want to extend that. It's that
Right.
Christ came for all.
It's an opportunity for us to take the money maybe we saved and invest and care for and love the least of these.
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
So when you look at those 4 tenets, for me, Angela, that's just like, it makes perfect sense to me for how we would need this time of year, especially in 2020.
Especially this year. That's
Right?
right. Especially this year.
I mean, have you noticed like people putting up their decorations early?
Oh my word! In my neighborhood, Halloween.
Halloween.
On Halloween, I saw Christmas
So they've
decorations.
been up?
They've been up.
Oh,
They've
wow.
been up, and I know that you're one of those people.
Well, no, typically we're the Thanksgiving, like you don't put up decorations till Thanksgiving, you don't listen to Christmas music till Thanksgiving. But we've kind of cheated a little bit this year
Yeah.
because we really just feel like we
we
need
just
to be
needed
reminded.
it. I think everyone needed it.
Yeah.
Now we're a real tree kind of family,
Uh-huh.
so we had to wait till the trees came out.
Yeah, got it.
So it's coming.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So, so once again, we're just going to now talk about how this movement, Advent Conspiracy, can help us find the hope and the meaning that we're really longing for in this season. And to kind of set this up for us, we want to watch one more time this video that really explains what Advent Conspiracy is all about, what the movement's all about. And so you guys have seen it before, but let's just refresh our memories here and enjoy it. So watch this. So that's Advent Conspiracy, and it is such a powerful movement that started with 3 churches and has now spread around the globe. Like, I remember how excited we were to hear that there were churches in Germany that were celebrating this with us. You know, that was years ago, but it's just amazing to see what God's doing. And so it all begins and ends with Jesus. It all starts with worship fully, but for us today in this moment, we're going to save that for just a minute, and let's go to spend less and spend a little bit of time on that. And I'm still covered in this snow, aren't I?
Who did that to you?
Don't know. It was you.
Who did it?
But spend less. There's a lot of different ways for us to kind of talk about how we can do that this year.
Yeah. Well, so something I'm excited about is the artisan market.
Yeah.
And we've done that at Grants Trail for a couple of years now. This will be our 3rd year, and it's been so much fun.
This is footage from last year, isn't
Here
it? That we're looking at? Yep.
Yeah. And so we have vendors, local businesses come in and set up. And the great thing is they donate 25% of what they make.
Wow.
So,
yeah. And that 25% goes to support, this year it will be towards Crisis Nursery, which is one of those organizations that we just love partnering with.
Right.
So we're excited about that.
But we're not doing it like this year.
We're not.
This is a year like none other. In fact, I found it today. My grandbabies aren't coming for Thanksgiving.
You did,
So
yep.
Everything's different.
It's true.
And this year, Artisan Market is going to be virtual.
Yeah.
On November, actually goes live November 27th.
27th, which is just in a few days, and it'll be on our website. So you guys need to know this website. I'm sure you're going to post it in the comments on Facebook, but make sure you make note of this, thecrossing.church/AC. And when you go there and scroll down, you'll be able to see where the virtual artisan market is going to be. Support local vendors who are going to give 25% of their proceeds to Crisis Nursery, which we're so excited about. And then also on that page is another way that we can just kind of support local businesses, you know?
Yeah.
You were talking to somebody that kind of had issued a challenge to themselves.
And I'd never thought about this. The challenge was try to do all of your shopping this year local.
Yeah.
Like not on Amazon, local. Let's support these local businesses.
Which is a really cool way to make your money count, which is what we've been talking about. So another way you can do that is, if you get gift cards to restaurants, if you just think about how the restaurants have struggled during this season with quarantines and shutdowns and all of that kind of stuff, this is a way that we can support local restaurants, is go buy some gift cards and then give them to friends and say either let's get some food to go and share a meal, or when this is all over, we're going to share a meal together. But we get to support these restaurants in the meantime.
And The Crossing has an online bookstore with some really great ideas about devotionals, and I think they've got a big sale on Bibles coming up. And so that's another really good way to shop.
Right, so all kinds of cool options for us to live out this tenet of spending less during this season and not breaking the bank and making this meaningful.
Even Black Friday, do you need water?
I'm choking on some snow, but I'll be all right. Go ahead.
Sorry. Even Black Friday is not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
We're saying spend less.
Yes. Black Friday is great because you can save money on those deals. And so go be a part of Black Friday if you're one of those people that loves that chaos and loves being a part of that.
Which I don't.
Right.
But there are people who do.
Oh, here it comes. Ready? What a great team.
Okay, that's great.
So that's the idea of spending less. But can we talk a little bit more about this next tenet now, which is give more?
Yeah,
so we're going to give more relationally, give more of our time. And it turns out, I'm going to take a drink. That's what I needed. It turns out that what we've found over the years with Advent Conspiracy is that the real experts on Give More, if you really want to know who's great at making relational gifts and spending time and all of that, it's the kids. And so we decided we wanted to bring a couple of experts onto the midweek today.
They've taught us a lot.
They have. So we want to hear what they have to share. And so joining us this evening are my friends. Is it okay? Can I call you guys? We're friends, right? We're old friends. We've known each other for a long time. Aubin and Tegan Burke. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Welcome.
So I'm so excited because this is a great story. Last year, you guys did something really, really cool for Advent Conspiracy. And Aubin, I want to start with you. Tell us what you did for Advent Conspiracy last year.
So I made these wreaths, and so we got a gold circle, and it was kind of like a room, kind of. And then we took fabric, we cut it into a strip, and then we wrote like words on it and then hot glued it.
That's awesome. So what kind of words did you write on there?
Like forgive, kindness, Noel, things like that.
Yeah, those kinds of words, which is really cool. And I think we've got a little bit of video of these wreaths that you made, but then, so you made these and then you were able, yeah, there you go. Look at those. Look how beautiful those are. So, and then you sold those to people who wanted them and kind of made some videos on Facebook, like saying, this is what I'm doing. And then Tegan, you didn't make wreaths, you made something else.
I made cookies with my dad.
You did. What kind of cookies did you make?
We made chocolate chip cookies.
That's right. And from what I hear, these aren't just any chocolate chip cookies. These are your world famous secret recipe chocolate chip cookies, right?
Sure.
Sure.
And so you made cookies and you sold those to people. And did you guys make money? I mean, how did it go?
It went great.
Yeah?
And
How much money did you guys make?
I think together we got like over 500.
Wow, over $500.
Wow.
And then what'd you do with that money? Did you like go buy a bunch of stuff and get some candy and toys? And, no? Did you give it to your mom or dad and say, we just wanted to, here guys, you guys go on a vacation?
No.
What'd you do with it?
We gave it to Living Water.
Oh, now tell the people what living water is.
Living Water's like whenever people have dirty water that they have to drink, we give them a well, so because the well gets really clean water so that they can stay healthy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And we just showed a picture of you guys giving your money to Living Water. It's gone now, but we just showed it. And so you guys did that, and that was how you loved all last Christmas. Now, what are you guys doing this year? Do you guys have a plan?
I don't, but Robin does.
You're still thinking about it.
Yeah.
What about you, Oven?
I'm painting. I want to paint details on a white mask.
Oh, very cool. So then people can wear their masks, and that can have some cool stuff on it.
Mm-hmm. That's a
great.
great idea.
It is. Well, guys, I love your hearts and the fact that you've done this, and we're just celebrating that this makes Christmas really meaningful for a lot of people, including your mom and dad, I bet. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So thank you for that. What I love about what Aubin and Tegan got to do is they got to partner with Living Water International, which is just such an organization that matters to us. And for us at the Crossing, that's what it means for us to love all. So every Christmas, when we take our Christmas offering during all of our Christmas services, even the online ones that we'll be doing this year, all of the proceeds that we receive during that offering will go towards our partnership with Living Water International. And so we got a chance to record a conversation with Greg and the CEO of Living Water International, Mike Mantell, just to talk about Advent Conspiracy and the impact that it has had on that organization. It's an amazing conversation. It's on Zoom. You're familiar with the audio glitches, so you know what's coming, but please now enjoy this conversation between Greg, our lead pastor, and Mike Mantell, the CEO of Living Water International.
Okay, hey everybody, I'm here with one of my dear friends, Dr. Mike Mantell, who is the CEO of Living Water International. You guys know here at the Crossing how big a deal this partnership is with us. So first of all, Mike, thanks for joining us, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Greg, I am so happy to be here with you today. I wish I was there in person, but you know how it goes.
Me too, but you will be soon. I mean, I believe that, I do. So here we are. I can't believe it, but we're entering into the Advent season, and our folks obviously are very familiar with Advent Conspiracy, and I thought maybe what we could do is just kind of zero in on that last tenet of love all and what that means for us at the Crossing, and honestly, since it's just us and we're kind of talking with family now, what it means for this strategic partnership between the Crossing and LWI. You and I were talking at Corporate Faith where you were recently, and we were just talking about how this partnership has changed both of us. Would you just kind of unpack that a little bit?
I would love to. You know, we've been doing this now for what, 13 years?
Yes, unbelievable.
Yeah. And well, first of all, Advent Conspiracy has impacted me personally. And has impacted the organization Living Water International. I, like everybody else that follows Jesus, wants to worship Jesus at Christmas, right? And, Advent conspiracy gave me permission, kind of in a cool way, to worship the King and to not be caught in the frenzy of consumerism. I mean, it provided a little space personally. And in my role as the CEO and president of Living Water International, the people that I've engaged with through Advent Conspiracy has changed how we do our work and the impact of our work. How we do our work, I got to tell you, Greg, 360 churches that had not previously understood the water crisis are engaged in missions around the world because of this crazy idea that you and a couple of your friends had to make Christmas more approachable for people. 360 churches.
Yeah, when you say engaged, I mean, they're in. It's not all of those other churches that are, and we're grateful for them, that are contributing. I mean, these are churches that are engaging with you guys in pushing back darkness.
They are going on trips, or will again, Lord willing, soon. They are understanding the impact of water, that the impact that we have on kids, on women, communities. For the first time, they're understanding the enormous impact of the lack of water that people experience around the world. And it's an invitation to understand and to get involved. 360 churches. I think, I did a little calculation. We have, through Advent Conspiracy, only through Living Water International, have impacted probably 350,000 lives with water in the gospel.
Well, one of the things that I remember us talking about early on was that let's just call it the funding of what is happening. You felt like churches need to be more involved with the water crisis. And so we've seen that over these years. But we've also seen here on our side, Mike, that it's changed us. I think we're a church that is as aware of the water crisis as most churches are. And like you were saying, it starts to affect every aspect of life in that particular village, in that particular school. And I'm thinking back to a couple of years ago when we went back to Liberia to really one of the first wells that Chris C., our buddy, he and I were in Liberia all those years ago at the very beginning of Advent Conspiracy. And, it was a tough place where we were. And we sort of vowed in that moment, whether this AC thing takes off or not, by God's grace, we want there to be a well here. And so you and I got a chance to go back and to visit that exact village. We weren't sure if we were going to get there, but as I walked further and further into the village, it became apparent we were in the same village, but there were differences. You want to talk about that time when we walked into that village?
I remember that walk so clearly. We were walking up that dirt path, and you're just like, this kind of looks familiar. Have we been here before? Yeah. I think right around this bend, we're going to see this tree, and the river's good. And I mean, the energy just started growing. And when you realized fully that we had, in fact, been in that place 10 years prior, it really was overwhelming, because you told me the story. It was Chief Barney. And you'll tell the story much better than me, but this chief was angry. Yeah. And, you and Chris and Rick were there to do good, to be a blessing, to bring water. And you could not get any positive reaction from that chief. Can you tell me why that was?
Yeah. Well, it really, we just said, and we thought we were kind of excited about, hey, there will be a well here. We're going to start this thing. We're going to go back to our churches, and there will be a well here providing fresh water for you. And this was right on the heels of them telling us that there were children like that week that had died, that there were children who were dying of these waterborne diseases. So we thought we were bringing a good thing, a bit of good news to it. And like you said, it was just a flat reaction, just nothing. And so then through the translator, we asked him, what are we missing here? And he said, I will never forget this. He said, others have made promises in the name of Jesus before you, and nothing has ever happened. And honestly, Mike, Chris and I looked at each other and said, you know what, if this AC thing doesn't take off at all, we are guaranteeing between our two churches that a well will be dug here, because we just didn't want the great name of Jesus dug through the mud with people making empty promises anymore. And so it was fun to go back and to see that not only had the promise been kept, but all of the things that happened in the life of that village because of what happened back then.
That was such a courageous act.
Mm.
And that's often where we are. You know, will we just move forward and make a commitment without knowing the impact? And then 10 years later to see that the children were in fact going to school. They had uniforms. There were church buildings.
Yeah.
People were healthy.
Yes.
And it had become so normal to that community 10 years later that they were taking water as just a given. You know, they'd forgotten that water had not previously been available there. And so when I asked them, we're sitting around having tea, sitting around the water point. It was still a center part of the village, the hand pump. And I asked the elders, I said, so how are you feeling today? What is the biggest overwhelming feeling, the impact that you have right now? And I thought they would say, the water that came 10 years ago. Do you remember what they said?
No, honestly, I don't. My head was so full of things and so many conversations. What did he say?
This old man, he must have been 85 years old.
I remember.
He moves his head like this towards you, and he said that white man from America is sitting around this water point with me drinking tea. He said that had never happened before. And I'm like, the water and the reconciliation, the living gospel of Jesus Christ all coming together in that moment. It was overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, I do remember that moment. I don't remember him specifically saying that. I remember him taking me by the hand. And it was really important for us to sit there and to have that tea. And then you guys had that conversation. I remember how loud the village was, with kids giggling, running around. And I remember that church building that had been built in the last decade, and the worship service that lasted, you know, I mean, how many of these have you and I've been in around the world? And they're just so beautiful. But that worship service that lasted a while, with singing and praising and storytelling. Mike, it's just, for us personally at our church, it's a blessing. And we keep learning more about the kingdom of God by getting involved in these ways. So I just want to say thank you to you for really just providing that avenue for us to partner together and to see God at work in ways that we honestly never imagined.
I just love it. That makes it real, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As much as we talk about living water, and it makes Advent Conspiracy and living water feel more real to me,
Yeah, it does.
to hear them talk about that.
It does. So cool to hear those stories from Liberia and everything that they've experienced, and the fact that our doing Christmas differently has had a global impact when it comes to the water crisis.
And two little girls saving money and contributing to that makes a difference.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. So like we said earlier, it begins and ends with worship, because we don't ever want to forget, with the clean water and all the reconciliation, is Jesus.
That's right.
It's always at the center.
Amen.
And we always want to begin and end with worship.
Yep.
And we want to start the Christmas season with worship.
We might as well.
Let's do it. Did
All
you
right.
bring your guitar?
Just so happens I did.
And are you girls ready to sing with us?
Yeah.
Will you guys sing
Okay.
this with us?
Let's sing.
And those of you that are watching this wherever you are, just sing it out.
Worship with us.
We're going to begin to worship now. Let's do this. Here we go.
do it.
Here we go. Oh, come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem.
let us adore him. Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, and God bless you. We'll see you this weekend.